Hey guys, Civilord here, back in with another action figure review. Today we'll be continuing our looks at the Masters of the Universe Origins Cartoon Collection 2000X line with the Deluxe Whiplash, brought to us by the fine folks over at Mattel, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that I got some things to say about this figure, so much so it made my voice crack. Either way, while I am very happy to have this guy in the collection, he leaves a bit to be desired, unfortunately. And I'm not even going to say he's not worth the price. He is big. It's just, he's super antiquated, even compared to Ram Man, who was antiquated as all get out. Granted, I paid 20 bucks for him and 25 for this guy, but that's not the point. So, with that being said, why don't we cut right to the chase and get to the meat and taters of this review and take a look, see at all Whiplash has to offer in terms of accessories. Got this piece of cardboard with a picture of him on it, and a little pamphlet explaining how to take them apart. If that's not Roboto's. If it is, well then you'll see Whiplashes tomorrow, won't ya? We also get his tail, which is a solid chunk of non-articulated plastic. This feels like a separate piece up here, the end, which is fine, but it's a little odd. And now another, this figure, I don't know what it is. There's mold degradation here, and then there's mold degradation on him. Like, this is a brand new sculpt, and it's already got like a bunch of crap that I'm going to need to trim off. Particularly in the shoulders. I might even soap those up to loosen them up. And then, not for nothing, another issue I have is his waist. It clicks, but it's not tight. And I'm going to leave him in pieces here so we can look at the articulation. Because for starters, in the head, he's got a double ball peg, which isn't the loosest thing I've ever messed with, but it ain't the tightest either, especially where it connects to the base of the skull. So that's kind of an issue. The shoulders can go out, allegedly, if they don't pop out of the socket. And if I loosen these, they will probably go out just fine. It's just, as it stands, now, you can see there's crud on the socket here, which I will gladly trim with my clippers. I could probably get in there and cut that right off. It is just soft plastic after all. But yeah, these shoulders need to be a little bit looser in the hinge. They're not loose in the swivel department, like they're not floppy, but you know, they're so tight in the hinge, you're going to pop them out trying to do that. Elbows are fine. They will rotate and they will hinge. I think this side was a little stiff on mine, but it does work. And it feels like they should be popped in there some more, so maybe I'll see if I can't do that. He's got separate bracer pieces, so that's nice. He's got the same hands as Ram Man. I don't know why he doesn't have claws, but he doesn't. So there is that. Of course, when his body is attached, he does have a waist twist. It's not the loosest thing ever, but it's not the tightest, and it does have a little wiggle back and forth. Now, my biggest gripe with this figure, this loincloth skirt piece thing, is glued down. Why? It doesn't need to be glued down. I'll give them an A for effort that they're trying to prevent things from popping the torso apart, but there is enough clearance here to push this up and help stiffen that waist twist a bit, while giving you a little bit better hip range. Because here's the hip range. It is barely crap. Which, yeah, Whiplash is a big dude. And on this leg it's even less, but after so much heating and whatnot, he does have a little bit of that crotch flop, but his legs are so thick and the clearance is so minimal, it doesn't even matter, okay? So if yours does that, I wouldn't worry about it. It's literally like a millimeter, and it's not going to throw them off balance. But the legs can also kick out about this far. Kick back down. He does have a little bit of a thigh cut in there because of the way they attach. But like I said, these legs are so antiquated because the skirt is in the way. Or at least it was. I used a lot of heat on mine to get it out of the way. Which, not for nothing, mine also might be a little touch crooked, but again, not enough to really stress over. He does have a swivel at the knee, as well as a hinge. But again, the hinge barely gets you squat. It gets you that much. Same with that side. You do get the swivel, but it's kind of stiff. Especially on this side for some reason. So maybe I'll hit that with a little heat too. The last thing we need is another snout spout scenario. Anyone remember that? That wasn't fun. At least this guy's not exclusive. He's got a boot cut. He's got ankle hinge, but it barely does anything because the way they made the feet. It's got these like cups that go over the joint, and it's just like, what happened with this guy? What's going on? He's got peg holes at the bottom of the feet, and he's got a hole in his butt. But the problem with that is, if we plug the tail in here, as far as I can get in there, and we plug the torso in. The problem with that is, oh sure, you know, before he was like falling on his butt. Now he's not. He's not gonna do that now. Well, he must be leaning forward enough for that to not be an issue. So if you get your legs moving right, you can have him balanced like this, but I would almost advise you just have the tail rest on the ground. That way he does not fall down, but if you can pull it off, then by all means. But if you want to pose this guy up, that's not going to happen. But I'm going to leave this tail off for now because it's big and takes up a lot of room. And I don't want it to seem like I am just ripping this figure a new one. Again, I could have just got a janky one that needs a little fixing up. But for the most part, this 2000X line has been very enjoyable. It's just this guy is less enjoyable than the other ones I've looked at. Which I don't think that's outside the realm of reason. They can't all be winners. It just sucks that it's Whiplash and instead of somebody I don't care about like Orko, who at the time I'm recording this video, I still haven't bought yet, because screw that little bugger. So with that being said, I think it is time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here we have good old Whiplash alongside a standard sized Evil Warrior from this 2000X cartoon collection. That, of course, being none other than Skeletor, the Lord of Destruction. We've already taken a look at here on the channel, as I said in both Merman and Web Store's reviews. But as you can see, Whiplash, despite his faults, is still a chunky monkey and towers over his boss here. That said, getting Skeletor out of the way, so we can bring in another Evil Warrior. This time of the deluxe variety, we have good old Clawful. A far superior figure in my opinion, but not in terms of size. Maybe he is a bit short. Not sure why that is. Get an idea of where their heads are at. Yeah, he's quite a bit shorter than Whiplash here, almost a whole head shorter, but maybe that's accurate. I don't know. My memories tell me that he was bigger in the show, but it's been a while since I've seen the show, so correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. Getting him out the way so we can make way for the next deluxe figure we'll be taking a look at. The even chunkier monkey known as Roboto, who just friggin' towers over Whiplash. I mean, that's not even fair, man. He's almost like Masterverse Deluxe size, but without that price. Getting him out of here so we can take a look at our two regulars, one at a time, of course, because Whiplash is deluxe after all. Have the Mythic Legion's brother Mandibilith, as well as the infamous 11 Spawn, who is about neck and neck with old Whiplash here. So, with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and despite the fact that I am glad to finally have Whiplash to go with the rest of the Evil Warriors from this 2000X cartoon collection, I wish he came out a little better. His articulation is very antiquated, mostly due to the lack of range in the hips and just the weight and lack of any posability in the tail other than a swivel at the base. It's just not a fun figure to mess around with, which sucks because most of the figures in this line, even some of the lesser ones, like the females, let's not kid ourselves, are at least fun to mess around with. This guy, he just seems like a bit of a chore. And the next one we'll be looking at, Roboto, is almost no different, but I will give him an edge over Whiplash and say that he's at least somewhat fun to mess around with. Whiplash here, not so much. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.